everybody. Coming to you live, doing kind of this hybrid thing today, but coming to you live to talk about MaineCare. And the question we asked as the title to this is Waste, Fraud, and Abuse, oh my. There's a lot to talk about there, but the biggest thing is that right now, Maine people have the opportunity to make their voices heard. So, Nick, tell me this. Do you think that we need more accountability in MaineCare?
I would say absolutely, and I think all the viewers would agree too. If you're following the recent news about this, you've heard that the Mills administration is cracking down on some providers. We think this is a couple years too late, especially since they've documented many aspects of waste, potential fraud happening in the program. Absolutely, and like we documented with in the podcast with Steve Robinson, it's really this ethos, this culture of pay providers now and ask questions later. And I think we're seeing the questions later part falling on our lap this year, but I think it's because of the reporting in part by the Maine Wire, who's actually calling out these things before it happens. And
demanding accountability that
right,
way, right?
Right.
Calling out the Mills administration, calling out DHHS for not doing anything about long-standing problems with agencies that were providing MaineCare, known to have huge problems, but nothing was done about it for a long time. And so, of course, we also have the Lead MaineCare Accountability Project that we've been talking about for a while. But we have some exciting news. As of last week, the public comment period is officially open.
yes, it's your time to speak up.
And so for anybody who is hearing about this for the first time, on election day in June, Maine citizens collected signatures, over 3,500 signatures, to put these two rules forward. The legislature is not doing anything, the Democrat majority is not doing anything to demand accountability for your tax dollars that are going out to MaineCare. So Maine citizens are instead. And the two rules that we are putting forward now are welcoming public comment. So DHHS in the rulemaking process is required to respond to our request for rulemaking because we submitted way more than 150 signatures.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Oh yeah.
And so now we have the opportunity for Mainers to speak up. But before we get to exactly the mechanics of that, Nick, can
Sure.
you explain what the two rules are that we're putting forward? What would they do exactly to make sure that there's more accountability?
Absolutely, they're simple. They're simple. So the first one is that an on-site inspection has to be made on-site. So these are oversight rules for providers of MaineCare, the folks who get money from the state to provide services for the most vulnerable population that's supposed to be served by MaineCare. And so that first rule is that if there's a provider who's billing the state, state agency staff need to show up to their place of business, their office, in person.
Before they can bill.
Before they get billed, and at any point if they're under suspicion or investigation, that's how our rule goes as well. But it really is emphasizing the in-person physical inspection part of the on-site inspection rule that's already there. Well, unfortunately, we had heard that the department was administering what was known as a desk review, which at some point may be included in in-person inspection, but since COVID really has not, has been conducted via phone call. So we thought that was...
Desk review is a very fancy term for phone call.
Yeah, it could be even less invasive probably, but right, it is a kind of a nice term.
It's not in person.
Yeah, so we got to make sure that these providers, before they get a dime of taxpayer dollars, they actually exist. A state agency staffer has visited their office. I mean, we all saw the videos of John Featherston going into some of these offices, and in one case, a trailer that housed a MaineCare home health agency. And so if agency staff are doing that, we think that that's an early flag on potential fraud, and maybe some of this stuff could have been caught earlier. So that's the simple one, guarantee on-site inspections.
And really, both rules are very simple. This
True.
first one says on-site means on-site, and that's not a phone call. You have to have better verification than that. But the second rule is equally simple, frankly.
Yeah, we're saying that...
Equally common sense.
Exactly. I mean, we're saying that if the state at any point flags you for improper billing as a provider, you've submitted a mistaken or wrong piece of service that you've been billed for, you're overbilling for something. If there's any flag of improper billing for a provider, the state's going to pause those payments. That's what our rule would say.
Wait, why don't they pause those payments now, Nick?
Well, today they need a credible allegation of fraud. So it really has to rise to that
And that's
criminal.
a really high bar.
Yes, and at that point, the unit in MaineCare that's in charge of that then refers those to the AG's office, or is
And
at least
that point,
supposed to.
the horse is out of the barn. I mean, those
Right.
funds are out, they're gone. And so what happens right now is that even if someone improperly bills MaineCare, they continue to get paid as they submit for further payment. And so on the one hand, you might have an investigation ongoing, but on the other hand, you still have payments going out the door to this entity. Our rule says, no, you can't do that. When there is improper billing that has happened, then any future funds have to be put in an account, an escrow account, set aside instead of being sent right out the door. And they sit there, they gather interest. These payments are there so that when the entity demonstrates that they are operating properly and these charges are correct, those funds are released. It's very
Right.
straightforward.
Right, exactly. We think that's fair. We think that's most fair to the taxpayers and obviously for the vulnerable patients who are relying on some of these providers. If that provider is legit and conducting themselves in a proper way, those funds would go right back to them with interest, like you said. And we think that's a fair way to do it. If there's somebody whose payments have been paused and they didn't deserve it, they're made whole for that time that their payments were paused because they are still providing services to their patients. And so we think that early flag of fraud for the staff will allow them to see these things. Yeah, I was unprepared for that one.
So I just would remind folks, we're not talking about small dollars here in some
Not
of
at
these
all.
cases. There was an over $45 million case of improper billing.
Right, in the autism program.
In the autism program. And here we're talking about, this is a program that serves individuals with high needs. To have all of their activities of daily living supervised by in-home care. This is residential centers.
Eating.
And so eating,
From the
bathing,
entire-
dressing,
Yeah.
everything. And so to have $45 million go wrong, and not only those $45 million, but then now Mainers are going to be on the hook because those funds went wrong. And now we have to pay back $25 million to the federal government. So you're hit on both ends as a taxpayer. And on top of that, you have this vulnerable population who, we've got wait lists,
Yes.
This is a population that cannot afford to have this kind of thing going on. They need this care. And so these two rules are now in, the rulemaking process is active, and the comment period has started. And so that's the opportunity for Mainers to weigh in. And I know we've had folks reach out to us, Nick, asking, like, I didn't get to sign the petition on election day, you weren't at my polls, what can I do? Well, here is what you can do. This
Yep,
is your
it's your opportunity.
to speak up. And so why don't you walk us through how to comment? Because it really is so incredibly easy. You guys, we've made it so easy for you. We will link to it in the comments, but Nick, walk through what that looks like.
Yeah, we set up an easy web page at leadmaine.com/MaineCare comment. The link will be in the comments below for you all, but click that link. It opens up our website with a little explanation about what it is, but essentially is a form that you submit with your comment, your written comment, and that goes directly to DHHS. It goes in the public record. So what we've done is set up a place where you can visit, put in your information, your town, your name, things that the state is going to want to see when they get these comments. We've provided 3 examples, a couple sentences that you can use, and you can click and it will copy and paste it into your draft box. You can finish drafting, you can edit it however you like, and then you just click submit at the bottom and it goes to the state's feed. And so those all end up in the public record, which I think is a really cool thing. Yes, 3,500 people signed these petitions when we walked into the polling places on June 9th, but this allows even more folks to step up and say, hey, these are common sense rules, and you can do it right on our website, leadmaine.com/MaineCare comment.
Yeah, I mean, we want to see thousands of Mainers from across our state, more than just the 8 polling locations, 7 or 8 polling locations we were at, to submit comments. And it really is that easy. You literally go to the website, click on the template comment you want to use. If you want to go that route, you can certainly write your own. And we've had so many folks write some really great comments thus far. I'm going to read a couple of them. They're short. You don't have to be, long-winded.
Doesn't need to be.
Short comment
Yeah.
suffices. So This one's from Beth in Brunswick. She writes, I'm a retired Maine public school teacher and taxpayer. Both proposed rule changes are so important as they provide common sense protection for Mainers' hard-earned money. It's time for Augusta to show concern for those providing the funds, the people of Maine, by assuring fiscal responsibility by those allocating the funds, our legislature. Thank you, Beth from Brunswick.
Great job, Beth.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's really that easy. Now, Beth wrote her own comment. That was not one of our pre-populated ones, but we've got another one from Glenn from Auburn. And Glenn did. He selected one of our comments and submitted it as is. That's fine. You can do that, or you can edit it. You can add in more details about yourself and why you care. But Glenn chose our pre-populated comment that says, I support both rule changes. Neither one touches a recipient's care or benefits. They apply to provider oversight only. Requiring real inspection and pausing payments during active billing investigations is basic accountability, not a cut to services. Short and to the point. And I would say it probably took Glenn literally less than a minute to submit comment by simply choosing one of our pre-populated ones.
And that's our goal at Lead Maine, is to make this as easy as possible for you to get engaged, to empower you to speak up, to have the government that you want to see. And this is one of those opportunities for us. We opened the books on this. You know, Lead Maine drove this. We got the petition out there, and we opened this comment period so you can speak out on MaineCare accountability. There are so many things that you can bring into this, but I think if I would say one of the more important things, if folks want to draft their own, if you have personal experience in this field, in healthcare in general, if you have experience with MaineCare as a patient or a provider or as anything in there, I think that will be a really helpful thing to add if you have that. But otherwise, having thousands of these comments saying how this is a common sense rule change, I think this is really going to help us move the ball. And like I said, DHHS is going to have to review and answer for all of these. They're going to group them up, and they're going to say, okay, this is why we went this way on this rule, and we got this comment on this side and all this. So we're going to have a long record of all of you to comment and for the state to answer for these things. Until now, they really haven't.
They haven't. And you know what I really love about Beth's comment that she put in there? She did keep it simple. It's very short. It's just as short as our pre-populated comments. But it does say the context. It says that she is a retired Maine teacher and taxpayer. It kind of explains why she cares about accountability for her tax dollars.
Yeah.
And it really is that simple. And so healthcare providers, I love that can provide some context, you know, if you're a healthcare provider. But also a variety of other things come into play here.
Concerned taxpayers. If
know,
nothing else.
We're all concerned taxpayers.
This is the largest program in the state budget.
It is.
So if anything, you know, as a taxpayer, you have a large say in this, $1.4 billion. Every quarter of every dollar that you send to the state of Maine, in fact, is going to go to this program.
Yeah, so if you think about that, you think about the total amount of money that you send in taxes to the state government, 1 in 4 of those dollars goes to MaineCare. If that doesn't show the direct applicability and why it's so important that we have accountability in this program, I don't know what does.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, folks think that education is maybe the largest line item, or broadly healthcare. Well, okay, yeah, MaineCare.
Right. Sort of single programs, MaineCare. 1.4 billion every year, and that's 475,000 people in Maine are on MaineCare. I mean, that's a whole conversation on its own, but that's 1 in 3 people who live in the state are on this program and potentially rely on this for reliable care and quick care and, you know, helpful care. So this is up to all of us to make sure we're speaking out for real accountability. If there's no accountability for the dollars that are coming through the state to these providers, the folks who are going to be left behind are those patients who need it the most.
Absolutely. And that's the two-prong approach we want to emphasize here is taxpayer accountability for taxpayers, but also accountability for the folks who are relying on this program. As you said, lots of conversation for another day. The bottom line is we have lots of vulnerable folks like those covered by the Autism Care Services and others who there should be good stewardship of this program
Absolutely.
for them.
Absolutely. It's a shame that it took a federal audit for us to learn this. I mean, this is part of the whole ask here, is that the state is asleep at the wheel. They are not administering oversight and accountability to the extent they should in this program. And that's why we did this whole thing. I mean, the fact that we had to wait for the federal government to tell us that the state never reviewed post payments for the autism program.
Right.
And here we are 16 years later, and we're now on the hook for $20+ million.
Right. So here's the deal, guys. We are asking you to get involved, to speak up, to make your voice heard, and to demand accountability. When the legislature and Governor Mills abdicate the responsibility that they have to provide accountability, then it's up to us. It's up to us to speak up and to make our voices heard and to demand the accountability that we want to see. And so today we're asking you to make a public comment on behalf of Maine taxpayers and Maine patients alike to demand accountability for MaineCare. Again, it is so easy. You can do it in less than 2 minutes. And just visit leadmaine.com/MaineCare comment. We'll put the link in the comments below as well. Anything else to add, Nick?
I think that's it. They just have to go to leadmaine.com/MaineCare comment, take 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes and submit your comment, because it's really going to make a difference.
Absolutely. You guys, please like and share this live. Make sure that other folks see it as well. Comment in our comments below, but also make your formal comment at leadmaine.com/MaineCare comment. And we thank you for speaking up. It's incredibly important. We need to see thousands of folks speak up and make their voices heard so that, frankly, so the DHHS knows that Mainers care about this, that Mainers want to see accountability, and that you're one of them. So thanks for tuning in today, and we'll talk to you again very soon. See you guys. That's me.